I am Natashia Brewer, and welcome to Renewing Your Mind with Natashia Brewer. Thank you for tuning in today. I am so excited to share this information with you today, as always. For those of you who don't know me, I am an author, music producer, and songwriter, CEO of Resonation Entertainment Group, the creator of 9 Steps to Writing Your Life's Love Song, which is released out and available. And I have a mission, purpose, and passion to help people to renew their minds. Oh, last but certainly not least, I am the visionary and producer of the Renew Your Mind Retreat. The 2019 Renew Your Mind Retreat is taking place October the 11th through 13th in Deep Creek, Maryland. I invite all viewing this video to attend. You have many options to register. You can email us at admin@rymchallenge.com. You can register on Eventbrite. Go to bit.ly/RYMRetreat 2019 today and secure your spot. Space is limited, so act now. As we prepare for this event, I want to expose you all to some of the great people involved with making this event epic and life-changing. Each week, we will discuss a question that is relevant and critical to renewing of the mind. This week's question is, how important is it to release baggage from your past? That's important. Today, I am speaking with Reverend LaTasha Morgan. Here, she is one of the speakers at the retreat. This retreat is going to be amazing. The theme is the strength of a woman, focusing on reflection, restoration, and refocus. So again, secure your spot today. Space is limited by going to bit.ly/RYMRetreat 2019. Not going to hold you any further. Let's get started and hear all the great things Reverend Morgan has to share with us today. It's going to be amazing. All right, talk to you soon. Bye. Hello, everyone. This is Natashia Brewer. I am the owner of Resonation Entertainment Group, and I'm here with Reverend LaTasha Morgan. I'm not going to go too much in detail. I want her to explain to you who she is, introduce herself, and then we'll get right into the questions. Hi, LaTasha. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I am great.
I will make this very brief. So my name is LaTasha Morgan. I am a licensed professional counselor. I've been on this journey as far as career path now since 2012. And this isn't where I envision myself. So I worked at the phone company for 21 years. I just knew I was going to retire. I was going to retire early. I was going to be one of those under 60s or close to 60s retiree. And probably about 2009 or so, God spoke to me clearly as we are having this conversation and told me to go back to school. And I was like, for what? By then, I already had several degrees. I was advancing in my position. I just knew that, I'm in the place I'm supposed to be. I love my job. I was making, really good money. And, I was like, God, you've taken care of me. So, yeah, we don't have to change any of this. But I was obedient. And when he told me to go back to school, he was like, go back for something that you love to do. And I was like, oh boy, here we are. I don't know. So long story short, counseling was the path that I chose. Everything aligned and fell into place as I was pursuing this degree. I worked full-time. I went to school full-time. I did an internship and a practicum, all while a full-time employee. Wow. And still held on. Talk about baggage, right? Yeah. Still held on. I refused to let that job go. I was holding on, just like maybe, nothing's going to happen. And then 2017 came and I was a part of a reduction in force. So commonly known in the corporate world as a RIF.
Right.
But by then I literally already had a job lined up. I didn't know it. I was still doing my internship or working at the site where I did my internship. And my site supervisor hired me immediately. She was like, take the time you want to take to just kind of process this change that you're going through. And she was like, but I got a position for you. And I transitioned right into this career which
Wow.
led me to now be afforded an amazing opportunity to be the assistant to the pastor of counseling at Alfred Street Baptist Church in Alexandria, Virginia. Historic African-American, at least predominant congregation. And they are literally cutting edge as far as churches are concerned. And they decided that they would invest in their members and those persons attached to their members, and have this new position, this pastor of counseling. And so I am going to align the well-being ministries in that church and establish a counseling center, so
Wow.
that persons that attend Alfred Street and are attached to Alfred Street will be able to holistically take care of themselves. So it has been an amazing journey.
To say the least. Talk about forget about what you had in mind, right? Forget that.
Yes. And not to forget that God dropped a 2-year-old on me. She's now 7.
Wow.
Like, oh, and by the way, here's your baby and take care of her. I was like, what?
You're like, you got it. You got it.
Evidently so. We're still here, loving and living. So all is good.
That's an amazing journey. Wow. So unfortunately, we couldn't connect last week, and I wanted your voice to be heard on the topic that we shared last week. And that topic was how important it is for us as women to acknowledge and celebrate one another as we go through our journeys in life.
That's an amazing question, an amazing topic, something we probably should talk about more often. I remember being asked to be a worship leader at a program some years ago. It was a women's program. And I was very hesitant because there is this myth. I'm going to call it a myth.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, though, a lot of times it's just reality for many, you know, that when women get together, like you kind of suspect about what might go down, right?
Right.
And so, and I think that myth, I'm going to call it a myth, but I think that myth is often fueled by the fact that we were not taught well on how to celebrate not only each other, but ourselves. Because it first starts with our individual selves, loving on ourselves, knowing our worth, being able to speak life into ourselves, so that when we see a sister that's doing good, bad, or otherwise, we can offer some word of encouragement, some word of celebration, something.
Right.
So I think that we've got to do a better job, 1, of self-love, and then 2, being able to share that. Communication is key when you talk about the subject as well. And so that's another area that as a sisterhood, we could work better on. Learning how to listen and hear one another, so that we can pull out the things, not that we take away from the conversation, but really hear the heart of someone, so that we can have an exchange that isn't volatile and argumentative, but one that will help us heal. And then again, this idea of being able to celebrate. So I think it's one of those topics that has a lot of layers. You want to do a lot of finger pointing when you get into the context of it. But I think at the root, it is, if we can display self-love to another sister, it will be easier for us to celebrate and just say, girl, your hair is the bomb today. I don't know where you got that outfit from, but you look amazing. For example, I was just getting ready to say to you, I cannot believe the wonderment that God has put in you, but I am so excited to know that you've got your hand everywhere and your creativity is spilling over into the lives of other people. Like, that's the kind of stuff we've got to practice in doing.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the things that came up like last week was about why do some people feel like it's going to take something away from you to give someone a compliment, to encourage someone else?
Yeah. Well, society doesn't help either, because, they kind of make us feel like, well, if I succeed, everybody else loses.
Right.
Right. when that's not the truth at all. And the enemy would have us to believe, again, his job is to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yes.
And that means in every aspect of our lives. So it's not just about, he don't want our stuff, but what he does want is our mental peace, our mental health, the things that are attached to our soul, our connections. And so, if he could get in and destroy this view that we have of another person, so that we will speak ill of them or speak death towards them, as far as not being able to lift them up and encourage them, then he's won the battle.
Yes, absolutely. And you said something that's key, and it's like a passion, and I know it's yours in mental health. It's the power, the renewing of the mind, and how important that is, and how it drives a lot of things. So that kind of branches out into our next question that was related to how the baggage that we carry from our past impacts our daily interaction with people, and how important it is to kind of deal with that stuff.
Yeah, that's again, another great topic. And so when you look at baggage, when I think about baggage, I immediately think about emotional baggage. So for me, that means these are the things that we deal with in our hearts. So no, it's not physically you walking around with a bag, right?
Right.
But our hearts are burdened, our spirits, our souls are burdened, and all of that stuff shows up in every aspect of our lives. And so recognizing, one, what emotional baggage or what baggage is, because if you think about it just in a general sense, a bag is something that you use to carry stuff in, right? Doesn't necessarily mean that the stuff in the bag is what you need. There's one thing, right? You go to the grocery store, you pick up the groceries, those are grocery bags.
Right.
But when we think about the stuff that we're carrying around emotionally, that's stuff that we pick up and hold on to because of past experiences, because of long held ideas about things that have been passed down from generations, old wives' tales, superstitions, all of those kind of things could fall in that emotional baggage. But oftentimes what we find is that those things are hindrances to us. Right. They don't serve us well in our everyday lives. And so we, often walk around feeling heavy and, depressed and unmotivated, and really can't push the button or underline what's happening and what's wrong, because it's not anything physical that you can look in the mirror and see, but this is stuff that's on the inside, that if we do not take the time to really work through and process, we'll always feel this way. There'll always be an emptiness, and then you won't even have the motivation or the wherewithal to kind of do anything about it, because you're just so bogged down. So it is absolutely important, and I mean primarily necessary for us to address the baggage. Everybody has baggage.
Yes.
Right? And so that's something we could get in a room and celebrate together. Everybody got baggage, right?
Yes.
We all have baggage, because baggage comes with just experience in life. It comes with changes and the vicissitudes that happen as we move through this journey called life. And so most of the time we don't even have control over those changes. It's just a part of the journey. What we don't do well is taking the lesson from the journey, right? And moving forward. See, that would be the positive way to be able to kind of let that stuff go. It's kind of the Bible uses well, maybe not the Bible. I take that back. I don't want to lie on the word. Maybe it's one of those passed down sayings, but you take the bones and chew the meat, spit out the bones, right?
Right.
And so you take what you need for the journey and you move forward. But a lot of times we're holding a whole piece. Right? We done ate up all the meat and we still holding on to the bones.
Right.
Like, you know, I don't know, the juice in it is good. Like something in it, you know, gives us this false sense that it's okay to do that. And so that's where we get tripped up. That's where most people get tripped up immediately.
Right.
We don't have, or we don't know, or don't have the tools to be able to let those things go before. And then, so if we don't let them go, then that means we then become the bone collector, right? So now we got all of these, you know, things that we're holding on to without the tools to be able to let them go. And so, you know, as the more we collect, the heavier we get.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so gosh, I could go on and on and on, right. But we've got to, you know, it is absolutely imperative to be able to, first steps would be recognizing that you have baggage.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that while you were talking that popped in my mind is normalizing dysfunction, right? So we be like, oh, I've always been this way. My mother was like this. My auntie was like this. So it's like, how do you break the cycle? Like you said, identify that there is truly a problem, that you snapping on everyone isn't good. It's not normal, right? Right. So what tips would you give someone to actually identify that there's a problem? This should, you know, that you are absolutely dealing with baggage.
Well, like you just stated, you will be able to recognize that there is a pattern. Mm-hmm. Everyone connected and attached to you realizes that there is a pattern. Right. The word on the street about you, right, is resemblance of your pattern, right? Right. I have a dear family member. I love her. I love her dearly, but let me tell you, she is a spitfire. And I could guarantee that if I asked anybody, you know, so-and-so, they'd be like, girl, yes. And let me tell you, right, I know that would be the sentiment, because every encounter, be it social media or live and live in color, right, is it's toxic. And so your reputation will precede you. Right. That's how you know that this is something bigger and beyond you. This is not just a one-off occurrence. You're having a bad day. There is a true pattern that not only you can see, but others around you can see.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, you hit it. It's toxic. You're like,
yes.
If the mood goes down in the room when you come in, or it's always drama around you, it's not everybody else. You're the common denominator.
That's right. You're the common denominator. Absolutely. Absolutely. Best problem I ever learned.
Yes. Like, what is the common denominator? Your issues, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And when the common denominator is always you, the issue is you.
Yes. Yes. And look, and I've noticed that a lot of people have a problem with accepting that they have a problem, you know, and it's like, I don't know if it's like just people, the feeling of being judged or stuff like that, but it's kind of hard or difficult for people to even say that they have a problem. And that you can't deal with anything, right, unless you say that you have a problem.
And that's when the community, you know, like your community becomes important. Those people that support you and they say that they love you, you know, that's when they need to start having those conversations with you. You know, perhaps you have attempted to mention it to them before, and maybe they weren't in a place where they were able to receive. But you can't give up, because if you love this person, your absolute desire should be that they not self-destruct. Right. Or you have to avoid relationship with them because of their toxic nature. And so that's when, you know, having those hard conversations has to happen. And in our, you know, community, in the African American community, unfortunately, we are good at sweeping things under the rug.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Until it impacts us directly, like until it's your, you know, you have spilled over into my family, and said something to my child that was
Right.
disrespectful, and now I'm going to address it when I've been talking about you behind your back for years and never said, so
Yeah.
we've got to like reposition ourselves and get into a place where we're going to become more supportive, and we're going to allow the community to help us do that. If more than one person is coming to you saying, yeah, let's talk about this, you kind of got to take pause and be able to address that. And really, honestly, Natashia, most people know that they got something happening,
right?
But admitting that there is something going on means that I'm going to have to go deeper. I'm now going to be accountable and responsible in some way, shape, form, or fashion to do something about it.
Right.
And that's scary when you've lived your life 20, 30, 40 years doing the same thing over and over.
Right. And talking about baggage, how important is forgiveness?
Oh my God. Forgiveness is, I don't even know what adjective to use. Forgiveness is absolutely imperative. And so I'll say it from two standpoints. So from the Christian standpoint, if you are a believer, you are a believer because you have been forgiven by Christ, right? So anything that you could have done, anything that you've done, anything that you will do, right? Because it doesn't make us perfect. It just gives us a hope. Right? And so if you look at it from that concept, it is so important because we wouldn't be able to live this life under the law, in a sense. Like if we had to pay for every single solitary thought and deed,
right,
we don't have the strength to do that. Right. So to know that we've been forgiven and then to try to apply that same principle in our daily lives, it's very, very important. Forgiveness. I mean, Oprah made the line famous. God bless Miss Winfrey. Right. That it's not that forgiveness is for you. It's not so much about the person that you're trying to forgive, and that's true. I mean, but it is a 360-degree view of just human relationship and how we can handle each other better. So, forgiveness is absolutely imperative, but forgiveness comes with a lot of work. It comes with those pull the Band-Aid off of a half-healed wound. It comes with, dredging up secrets. It comes with, addressing and reliving trauma. So it comes with things that are, it's like looking down a dark hallway that doesn't have any lights, and you really don't know how that hallway is going to curve. So it's like standing at the end of that hallway thinking, I don't know if I have the courage or the strength to do this. But once you do it, oh gosh, the freedom that comes, you would ask yourself, why didn't I do it sooner?
But you hit it on the head. You're so scared, like you don't want to relive the pain. You don't want to, think about how it made you feel. But like you said, that is absolutely necessary to true healing, right?
It is.
Yeah.
It is. In the therapy, in the world of therapy, like clients often get to a place where they are like, oh my God, I'm scared to go. Like we've kind of done a lot of surface work, and then we get to a real deep point where we've like gotten to the root, the shovel is there, we're ready to do the work. And they're like, oh, I'm gonna pull back. Because fear comes in and says, I can't do this. But if you think about how many years you have lived with this, how many years you've lived with this thing unaddressed, and to finally get to a place where you can address it, and then now you're at the root, you're much stronger than you really give yourself credit for. Because to be able to walk around like carrying that stuff, in your heart and your mind and your body, and then to get to a place where you are almost ready to disconnect the root and be free of it. Yeah, I tell people you gotta press down that you're here, because
there's no going
all
back.
That pain was for nothing. That don't let that pain be for nothing. This is the moment that you have been working for.
It's gonna be worth it. I tell people, like, you don't know how bad you were feeling until you start feeling better. And I'm like, that is like a truth. You feel this lift, like light, right?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, it's real. And
It
one of
really
the things
is.
when I was going through my process was setting boundaries.
Oh yeah.
And like, I'm not going back to how I was feeling, and
Uh-huh.
how important are setting boundaries after you've gone through the process of, truly getting your healing.
Yeah, and, setting boundaries, they are equally important as well because, I mean, it literally is a matter of life and death. Because
Mm,
after you have done the work, after you have processed and brought up and spoken about things that you probably haven't even tried to address in years, and you finally
right,
get the courage and the wherewithal to do it, you don't want that work to be tampered or hindered, or you don't want to, be caused to set back
right,
because you haven't built in the proper boundaries. And boundaries means not so much of being selfish. And I'm gonna get a t-shirt.
right.
I am not selfish, I am self-full.
Oh, wow.
Because it's not about you being selfish. It's,
Right,
as a matter of fact, it doesn't matter what anyone has to say about your process,
right,
because you're the one going through the process,
right,
and you're the one who gets the 100% benefit first of the process. And
right.
so to allow someone to come back in and re-injure you
Mm-mm.
after you've done all of that work,
Right,
shame on you.
right,
So that's what boundaries help us to be self-full. It helps us to set in our mind, in our words, in our deeds, in our action that I believe in me.
mm-hmm.
I have to protect me. And
Yeah,
that doesn't push God out of the way. But
right,
I think that God will, I truly believe, based on what I know about the Bible and my personal relationship with God, I think that God would honor a healthy boundary.
yes,
Because He doesn't want to bring us out of darkness into the marvelous light for
right,
us to just get pulled back into the darkness without
right,
a boundary. But we get pulled out of the darkness and then we say, I've got to have this particular boundary in place, right? I
mm-hmm.
need this kind of person in my life going
Right,
forward. I
right,
need to have this honest conversation with myself. I need to participate in therapy. Like, if those are your boundaries, fine,
right,
because they're going to help you from making the step back. Do we make mistakes? Absolutely.
right.
Again, like I said earlier, nobody is perfect, but the boundaries will help us be responsible and self-full.
Yes. And I want you to trademark that and get a t-shirt so I can get the t-shirt.
Okay.
Because that's
Absolutely.
powerful. And it's just like,
Absolutely. I'm going to work on that.
right. Because it
See,
gives,
sisters encouraging sisters.
yes, yes. I'm like, I want you to get that shirt. Because one of the things I talk about is like how we give away our power to people
Yes.
so often. And like just that slogan is like giving the people their power back. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. And I mean, I'm talking, and I'm not just talking from a professional, educational, like I've had to do the work. And
right.
still, I mean, as a therapist, every therapist should have a therapist. So
Mm-hmm,
I'm in therapy with a therapist still. And
mm-hmm.
matter of fact, I just went this weekend. You can cut this out if you want. But I just went this weekend and I was, sharing with her because it had been a minute since I'd been there. And I was like, I realized that some abandonment issues came up for me because of such
Mm-hmm.
and such and such and such. She was
Right.
like, really? And I was like, yeah, but I've already given myself a homework assignment. But she was like, no, let me give you one. Let me give you one further. But I mean, that's me being, self-full because
Yeah.
I've done too much work. And I mean,
Right.
that's not a pat on the back. That's not from an arrogant place. But that was from a place where I was considering taking myself out of here,
Right.
because, just everything, the bottom had fallen out, like,
Right.
all at one time. And so to be able to, with God's help, get back up from there,
Right.
yeah.
It's like it's no going back. I'm
It's no
like,
going back. It's
yeah,
no go. I might walk a little slow, but going backwards is not an option.
not an option. I'm like, no, I'm not having the same conversations. I'm not, no. If anything feels a little bit like The past, no, I can't do it. I can't.
I don't want it. I don't
No.
want it. So and so to recognize, that that's important to me, that helps me honor my boundaries.
Yes. Awareness is key, and awareness of your feelings, where you are, and you hit it on the head. Like you're never done with healing, right?
Oh.
Stuff will pop up, and you're like, where did that come from? Why did I respond that way to that person? Right?
Yeah, I used to ascribe to the thought that education is perpetual, right? I'm a lifelong learner, but now I believe that about healing. Like it is everlasting. It will, and I believe the Bible supports that, because it says that he who begins a good work in you, right, will continue it and won't complete it until the day of redemption. So that to me means that Christ is constantly, always, looking to perfect me. And so, yeah, keep it going. You got to keep it moving. You got to keep it growing.
Yes, all the time, and that's key. That's key. And I keep watching the time, because I know your little one is like,
it's okay. Yeah. Let's fight a dog now. Listen, between the two of them.
This is so good, and I'm like, I could go on and on, but I want to be respectful.
Well, that's why they've got to come to the conference. Yes. They get the 2.5 days, right? 3 days, right? Where we'll all be together and get to chop it up and like get this going. So that's why you got to come.
Reverend LaTasha Morgan is one of the powerful speakers who will be presenting at the retreat. The Renew Your Mind. Renewing your mind is so key. It's just so important. What is the scripture? Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. And that is one of my favorite scriptures when I was going through my like you said, when the bottom fell out in 2017, that was like what kept me going, what got me through, having me deal with my issues, my baggage, and then, progressing and not looking back. As we wrap up this session, for these 2 questions for today, what tips and nuggets do you have for the people who will review this video?
Well, since we were talking about emotional baggage and, and then the other topic, celebrating, I just wanted to leave these points about kind of what steps to consider. So we talked about admitting the problem, right? So you gotta say something so you can do something, right? Tell somebody that you're struggling with it. Once you admit the problem, then you need to go through a process of identifying what the problem or issues are. Everybody has more than one, so don't be ashamed. I have journals and journals and journals of stuff. So whatever your process is, identify and sit down and really take the time to identify what you believe the issues are. I would then encourage people to look at and challenge themselves about who they're blaming. Oftentimes we point the finger to somebody else, and then we forget about the thumb that points back to us, and we don't take into account our part. Have an honest conversation about your part concerning the issues that you have. Now, granted, there are some that are directly related, to other people. But there are some, if we're honest, that we stirred the pot quite a bit on, right? Then look at doing some work on forgiveness. Self first, right? And then spread outwards. Consider what has been taken from you because of these issues. Like how have you lived your life because of these things? Have you limited yourself because you didn't want to put yourself in a particular situation or a vulnerable situation, because you didn't want to open up, because you didn't want to be honest, because you felt like you were damaged or traumatized, or like whatever it is? What has these things robbed you of? That you might just want to enjoy now that you are moving on your path to freedom, because that will kind of help you be able to look at the end of that hallway and say, there is light.
Yeah.
There is light. There is light. And then give yourself a do-over.
Right.
Allow yourself to get a do-over. Like, all right, I messed this first season up.
Right.
But if God has given me breath for this day, let me start right from this moment. Let me start with this new day. Lamentations tells us that God's mercy is new to us every single morning.
Yes.
That we, and my pastor will, I mean, he goes in and says, listen, I done messed all the way up the day before. I'm sitting up waiting for 12:01 or whenever God's time resets for my brand new mercy. So take advantage of the do-over. Take advantage of the do-over so that you can begin to heal completely. And then last but not least, like, do something about it. You can't do it by yourself. And some people, they really do have the wherewithal where they can do it on their own. Right. But if you can't, it is nothing wrong with calling a therapist.
Yeah.
I just told my church family, listen, you can have appeal and prayer. You can have Christ and a couch.
Yes.
You can have the cross. You can have the cross and therapy. You don't have to pick one.
Right.
All of it combined can help you be able to move, heal, and be like your best self. And I know that's a tagline these days. I'm living my best life, but I mean, I really want you to live your best life.
Yes, yes. You had said so much, and each time you said something, I'm like, boom, questions in my head. No, save it. We can't give too much out right now.
No, I know. You gotta come so we can finish the conversation with your input.
Yes, absolutely. So how can people get a hold of you, and if they need help or guidance or anything?
Okay, well, that's a good question. So I don't know. I am on Instagram, and I think I'm on there as like Reverend Morgan. So next time, look, I'm gonna have to re-record this part and send you the correct information so that I can give you concise information. But I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I think I'm even on Twitter, and I'll provide an email address as well.
Okay, excellent. All right.
I do that for you.
Thank you so much for taking the time out your busy schedule.
Thank you so much for having me. I am looking forward to it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sponsor a couple people so they can come.
Oh, awesome. So you see, people, how amazing Reverend LaTasha Morgan is, and all the tips and powerful inspirational messages that she shared with you in just this 30 minutes. So, like I said, imagine what you're going to get at this retreat.
Yes, can't wait to meet you.
Yeah. All right. So until next time, thank you. All right. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
An amazing conversation with Reverend Morgan. She is a powerful woman of God. As stated, she will be one of the great speakers at the 2019 Renew Your Mind Retreat. Again, the 2019 Renew Your Mind Retreat is October the 11th through the 13th in Deep Creek, Maryland. Again, I invite all viewing this video to attend. It's going to be epic and life-changing. You have many options to register. You can email admin@rymchallenge.com. You can register via Eventbrite. Go to bit.ly/rymretreat.com to secure your spot. Space is limited, so act now. I look forward to seeing you all there. The theme again is the strength of a woman, focusing on reflection, restoration, and refocus. Secure your spot today. Go to bit.ly/rymretreat 2019. Okay? Have a wonderful day. Peace and blessings. Bye.